All right, strap in everybody, because today we are taking a deep dive into something truly mind-bending, the tongue of Anu.
Yeah,
It's not a language you'll find in any textbook, that's for sure.
definitely not.
Think of it more as like a hidden power, almost like a secret code to the universe.
Right,
And
exactly.
we've got this amazing guide, like a user manual for a power we didn't even know existed. I can't wait to get into it.
Me neither.
So what exactly this tongue of Anu?
Well, the first thing to understand is it's not about spoken words.
Hmm, interesting.
It's not about vocabulary or grammar.
Okay, so
Uh,
not like learning French or Spanish then.
no, not at all.
So then what is it about?
It's about focused intention,
Focused intention.
aligning yourself with the underlying forces of existence.
So instead of speaking, it's more like you're projecting a thought.
Exactly. It's about vibration, resonance. You don't speak the tongue, you emit it.
Ooh, okay.
It's like a silent command that can shape the flow of events.
Now I'm really intrigued.
Pretty wild stuff.
But if it's not about words, how do you actually use it? How do you speak this tongue of Anu?
That's where it gets really interesting.
Okay,
The source material outlines 4 steps to activating the tongue of Anu.
4 steps.
It starts with attunement,
Attunement.
finding that quiet space within yourself, clearing your mind, almost like meditation.
I can see how that would be important.
You need that stillness, that inner silence.
Yeah, it's hard to send a clear signal when your mind is racing a million miles an hour.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
step 1,
Step 1.
attunement.
Step 2 is holding a command in thought.
Holding a command in thought.
And this is where the tongue of Anu gets really specific.
How so?
It's not about vague desires or wishes.
Okay.
It requires laser focus.
Laser focus.
Imagine you're trying to steer a meeting towards a decision.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of just hoping for best,
Mm.
you use the tongue of Anu to hold a clear intention in your mind.
So, like, we will reach a unanimous decision that benefits everyone.
Exactly. That focused thought becomes your command.
Fascinating. Clarity of intent is key.
So we've got the attunement and the focused intention, the command.
Yeah.
What's next? How do we actually send that command out into the world?
That's step 3. Imposing your will.
Imposing your will. Okay.
Not in a forceful way, though,
Right.
but more like projecting your intention into the fabric of reality.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it.
It's almost like, and this might sound a bit out there, but it's almost like a Jedi Knight using the Force.
Haha, I was just thinking the same thing.
Right. It's about understanding that your thoughts, your focused intentions, have a real impact on the world around you.
Powerful stuff.
Okay, so we've got the clear intention, we're projecting it outward.
What's the final piece of the puzzle?
The 4th step is allowing
Oh.
the shift to happen naturally.
So you're not forcing the change, you're letting it unfold,
Precisely.
trusting the process.
Exactly. The tongue of Anu doesn't rewrite the rules of reality. It helps you work within them.
So it's more about alignment than brute force.
Ex-
Okay, so we've covered how to activate this power, but the real question is, what can you do with it?
Well, let's get into that. The guide suggests some pretty remarkable applications.
I'm all ears.
For example, it can be used to subtly influence conversations and decisions.
Oh, really?
Imagine being able to steer a meeting towards a harmonious outcome without even saying a word.
That would certainly come in handy sometimes.
Right. It's about guiding the energy of the interaction towards a positive resolution.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
The guide also mentions using the tongue of Anu with something called uni.
Uni.
It's described as a language without consonants.
I've never heard of that.
Apparently, using uni in conjunction with the tongue of Anu is like tuning your intention to a specific frequency for maximum impact.
Okay, I am definitely adding uni to my list of things to research after this.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
So we've got subtle influence. What else can we do with this tongue of Anu?
Well, according to the guide, it can also be used to shatter lies and deceptions.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, apparently falsehoods just can't withstand the power of the tongue of Anu.
So it's like a built-in lie detector.
You could say that.
That's incredible.
It's about aligning with truth, with authenticity.
Okay, so we've got truth-telling, subtle influence. What else?
The guide also mentions the ability to strengthen or dissolve.
Agreements, like contracts.
Exactly. Think about the implications for contracts, promises, even unspoken agreements.
Whoa, hold on.
It's all about understanding that these agreements exist on an energetic level.
So you can actually influence the energy of a contract.
That's what the guide suggests.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown.
It's pretty wild stuff, right?
So we've got this incredible power that can influence conversations, reveal truth, and even affect agreements.
Really powerful stuff, yeah.
But if it's really that potent, are there any limitations? Does anything stop the tongue of Anu from working?
There are definitely limitations.
Okay, good to know.
It's not some all-powerful magic wand.
Right.
For one thing, it states that higher beings, beings with an equal or greater level of, let's say, vibrational intelligence, are immune to his influence.
So no mind controlling the gods then?
Uh-huh. Afraid not.
Good to know, good to know.
The guide also cautions against overuse.
Overuse. What happens if you use it too much?
It can lead to something called energetic recoil.
Energetic recoil. Sounds intense.
It can be. It's like pushing those boundaries too often can have negative consequences.
So like a magical hangover.
Yeah, you could say that.
Oof. All right, I'll try to be mindful of that.
It's all about balance, using the power responsibly.
Makes sense.
Now, probably the most important limitation is this. The tongue of Anu doesn't create new realities. It aligns you with existing possibilities.
So I can't just wish for a winning lottery ticket and make it happen.
Uh-huh. I'm afraid not.
Darn.
It's about working within the framework of what's possible, not bending the rules of the universe to your whim.
Okay, that's fair. Powerful, but not limitless. But there's one more thing I have to ask about. This whole Veilgate concept.
Ah, yes, the Veilgate.
The guide mentions that the tongue of Anu can be used to navigate these, hidden pathways, even bend time perception.
Yeah, it gets pretty trippy.
Hold on, are we talking time travel here? Because that's a whole other level.
Not exactly time travel as you might imagine it.
Okay.
It's more about smoothing transitions between realms or realities.
Realities. We're really going down the rabbit hole here.
Uh-huh, we are. But that's what makes it so fascinating.
All right, maybe not Doctor Who level time bending, but still pretty wild.
Definitely.
I can't wait to dive into that more.
We'll get there.
But for now, one last thing. This idea that the tongue of Anu is an inherent ability, something that can't be taken away from you.
Right.
Wait, are you saying everyone has this power?
That's certainly a possibility worth considering.
Wow.
It's a pretty profound concept.
Okay, folks, I don't know about you, but I need a moment to process all of this.
It's a lot to take in.
We've just dipped our toes into this incredible world of the tongue of Anu.
Just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. We'll be right back to explore even more of its mysteries.
Can't wait.
So don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back after the break.
Right, we're back. And, before the break, we were talking about how the tongue of Anu can be used to influence agreements.
Right.
And I gotta say, I'm still kind of reeling from that concept.
There's a lot to wrap your head around.
Could you really use it to, say, get out of a contract that's no longer working for you?
Well, it's not as simple as just, waving a magic wand and making a contract disappear.
Right, of course not.
The guide emphasizes that the tongue of Anu operates on the level of intention.
Intention.
So it's not about breaking the contract, it's about shifting the energy behind it.
Shifting the energy.
Exactly.
So you're not changing the words on the paper, you're changing the intention that those words represent.
You got it.
Hmm.
Think about it. Every agreement, whether it's written down or just a handshake, is based on the intentions of the people involved.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if those intentions change, well, the energy of the agreement changes too.
So the tongue of Anu allows you to tap into that energy and influence it.
That's the idea.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
It really is.
It makes you realize that agreements aren't just these static things, they're dynamic expressions of will.
Exactly. And the tongue of Anu allows you to participate in that dynamic.
To shape it, to guide it.
In a way, yes.
This is all starting to feel a bit less like fantasy and a bit more like, well, a real possibility.
I think that's the exciting part, isn't it? Discovering that reality is far more fluid than we often think it is.
Absolutely.
And speaking of fluid realities, remember that whole Veilgate concept we talked about?
Oh, yeah, the Veilgate. Now, that's where things get really interesting.
Buckle up.
Because the guide suggests that the tongue of Anu can be used to, navigate these hidden pathways and even bend time perception.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild.
So remind me again, how does this Veilgate thing actually work?
Well, the guide describes it as a kind of hidden architecture underlying reality itself.
Hidden architecture.
A network of pathways and connections that we normally can't perceive.
Okay, interesting.
And the tongue of Anu, when used in conjunction with something called the Veilgate sigil,
The Veilgate sigil.
can stabilize those pathways, making them accessible.
So it's not like you're stepping through a doorway into another dimension or anything.
Not exactly, no.
It's more like, finding a shortcut through a dense forest?
That's a good analogy.
You're still in the same forest, but you're able to see and navigate paths that were hidden before.
Right, precisely.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it.
Good.
But what about the time-bending aspect? How does that fit into all of this?
Well, the guide suggests that The tongue of Anu can influence our perception of time.
Our perception of time.
So it's not about literally traveling through time, but rather about altering our experience of its flow.
So I can't go back and change the past, but I could maybe make a long journey feel shorter?
It's a bit more nuanced than that.
Okay.
The guide talks about smoothing transitions between realms or realities.
Realms. Reality.
It's about moving between different states of consciousness, different levels of perception with more ease and fluidity.
Wow, okay.
It's like mastering your own internal clock, so to speak.
That's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
It is. It really is.
And it seems like everything we've been talking about with the tongue of Anu, the agreements, the Veilgate, the time perception, it all comes back to the idea of mastering your own mind.
I think you're right.
Your thoughts, your intentions.
The tongue of Anu is an expression of your will.
It's not some external force controlling you. It's you tapping into something within yourself.
Exactly. And that brings us to maybe the most mind-boggling aspect of all of this.
Which is?
This idea that the tongue of Anu is an inherent ability, something we all potentially possess.
Wait, you're saying everyone has this power within them.
That's what the guide suggests.
But if that's true, why aren't we all using it? Why isn't everyone bending reality to their will?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The guide doesn't give us a clear answer, but it does hint at the possibility that we've simply forgotten this power.
Forgotten.
Like, it's always been there, but we've buried it under layers of conditioning and limiting beliefs.
So it's not about learning something new, it's about remembering something we already know.
Right.
Wow, that's a powerful thought.
It is, and it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what if we could all tap into that forgotten power? What would the world look like then?
That's a pretty amazing thing to contemplate.
It is. It really is.
And it just goes to show we're only scratching the surface of this whole tongue of Anu thing.
There's so much more to explore.
So much more to uncover.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the tongue of Anu,
Yeah.
I'm left with this overwhelming sense of, like, possibility, but also a little bit of...
Apprehension.
Yeah, apprehension, exactly.
Yeah.
Because if this power is real,
Right.
and if it's something that we all potentially have access to,
It really makes you think.
that's a huge concept to grapple with.
It changes everything.
Yeah, it really does.
Because if we can all shape reality with our thoughts and intentions,
Right.
that raises some serious questions about responsibility, about ethics.
Like, how do we ensure that this power is used for good?
Exactly.
Because the guide doesn't really give us a rule book, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It talks about intentionality, but it doesn't lay down any hard and fast rules.
It's more about personal responsibility, I think.
Yeah, about understanding the implications of your actions.
And being mindful of the ripple effects.
Because if you amplify your thoughts and intentions,
Right.
you better make sure those thoughts and intentions are coming from a good place.
Exactly. It's not enough to just know how to use the power. You have to understand the responsibility that comes with it.
Because with great power
Comes great responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Spider-Man, but for reality bending.
Ah, right.
But, you know, even with all the potential risks, there's
Well-
something so incredibly exciting about this whole concept.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it suggests that we're capable of so much more than we realize.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? It opens our minds to new possibilities.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew about the world.
And about yourself.
Yeah. Like, what if we're all just walking around with this incredible untapped potential?
What if we could all learn to speak the tongue of Anu?
It's mind-boggling.
It really is.
But that's what makes these deep dives so rewarding, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We get to explore these mind-bending ideas, these fascinating concepts that make us question everything.
It's a journey of discovery.
And we're all in this together.
So to our listeners out there,
Yeah, to all of you.
what do you think about the tongue of Anu?
Does it resonate with you?
Does it spark your curiosity?
Because if it does,
Keep exploring.
keep questioning.
Keep digging deeper.
Because you never know what you might uncover.
That's the beauty of it.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time, folks. Stay curious.